Kevin Durant, James Harden pair scoring or assisting on 208 of the Nets' 247 points in the 2 games they've played together. Both of those W's. According to Elias, they are the first teammates ever to each score 30 or more points in each of their first 2 games together with a franchise. So far, the thing's working. We'll see what happens when they throw some Kyrie Irving into that mix as well. Tim Legler is a basketball talent. He sees the whole floor, so he's here with us on SportsCenter to talk about what he saw in the Nets win over the Bucks. And Timmy, after 2 games with James Harden, offense meshes nice. How is it that it meshes so nice with this team?
Yeah, well, first, it's seamless with Harden and Durant because Durant scores so easily and efficiently. He doesn't really get his flow interrupted by James Harden. So now you've got 2 of the best offensive players in NBA history. And Harden, his ability to control the basketball and draw multiple guys to him and his passing ability out of that, John, is really just going to make this team almost unguardable at times. And we'll take a look at some examples from this one. You know, the way that he can get defenses to overcommit to him is special. And this is a perfect example. 2 guards, that should just be a switch on that ball screen, but because it's Harden, you get 2 guys miscommunicate. They linger a little bit longer than they normally would. Joe Harris just runs to an open spot for an easy shot. Here in transition, 4 white shirts, all eyes on Harden, flow to that side of the floor, and you forget about a guy like Kevin Durant's easiest basket he's going to get maybe all season, and then he wins one-on-one matchups. This is Drew Holiday, one of the best defensive guards in the league. Can't keep him in front. He gets to the backline defender, Bobby Portis, and now it's an easy dunk for DeAndre Jordan. Just his ability to be able to control possessions. It's unlike any other player in the league. Now in Houston, it was really him every trip. And then you put 4 3-point shooters around him. This is a little bit different now because he draws guys, and when that ball gets swung and now it ends up in the hands of Kevin Durant against a rotating defense or guys closing out and their space, forget it. It's impossible to stop them. So I'm just really impressed 2 games in to how easily these 2 guys have meshed together, and the impact of James Harden is undeniable. The guy's just simply one of the best offensive players at creating offense this league has ever seen, and Brooklyn's now seen it for their first 2 games with him.
All right, I've been reviewing the rules. You got KD and you have Harden. You add Kyrie, that's 3. You get 5. I think this is the Joe Harris question, right? How do you fit in the new look Nets rotation if you're not one of those big 3?
I texted a buddy tonight, how much would I like to be Joe Harris right now? The guy's not going to take a contested shot all season. It's amazing to be him and living in that world because he's got one of the best strokes in the league already, and now he's in a situation where there's just not enough defenders to find him. If he just stays active, he's going to get all the looks he wants. DeAndre Jordan is a perfect fit at center also with his ability to screen and dive, and even like a guy like Jeff Green, who can play some power forward for you defensively and take some of the pressure off of KD, but then can step out and space the floor with his 3-point shooting. So I think they've got perfect complementary parts around these 2 guys. Here's the problem. It's not just these 2 guys. You're going to be incorporating Kyrie Irving into the mix, John, and I just don't know, watching that game tonight, how that is possible to incorporate a guy that dribbles the ball that much, that's that dribble dominant, and now you're going to start to affect this flow that I'm talking about that they've had for 2 games, because I think the pieces that they have around these 2 stars are perfect. To the point where you could say, I see that team getting to the finals, maybe even winning a championship. When you add Kyrie to the mix, I think it becomes a little bit more muddled. It remains to be seen, but right now it's hard to imagine.
You had us all, and then you had to end on a downer, Tim Legler. All right, very good. We appreciate it, man. Listen, if Joe Harris is going to shoot 60% from 3, you'd shoot 80 on that team. They're sitting on 84% of the Nets' points in their first 2 games together in Brooklyn. 208 out of 247, both victories, and they've picked it up in the 4th quarter in both wins. The pair has scored or assisted on 61 of the Nets' 69 fourth-quarter points. As you'd expect, Steve Nash, good coaching, get it to your best players. Harden now in his 2nd partnership go-around with KD.
We were young in Oklahoma City. You know, we're grown men now. You know what we want. We really know the game of basketball now. You know, we're not those young guys that just run around and want to just shoot and dunk all day. We know the games, we know spots, we know, teams players. We're more advanced. And then for me, as I sit back, I know what type of player Kevin Durant is. He's one of the best players to ever touch a basketball. As God-given, 7 foot, can basically do everything. So for me, it's not trying to compete with that. It's allowing Kevin to be the best Kevin he can be, and I'm gonna make sure that I can make him better and then make my teammates better. Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
I feel as though we're, like you said, we've been in the league for James' 12th year, James' 12th year, my 14th season. So we pretty much seen every defense, every offensive scheme. We done been in every type of game, playoffs, game sevens, So we done been through a lot in this league, experienced a lot, and for us to bring it together now and combine what we've learned over this time and try to play great basketball, I think it was pretty seamless for us. It was an easy transition, especially with James, handling the ball a lot coming in. So we still trying to, find our way, and we still got room to improve. But it's a solid start.
They're that old. We'll go by the numbers.
Shut up, Beavis.
Harden and Durant combined for 138 points in their first 2 games there with the Nets. Second most by any 2 teammates in their first 2 games, behind only Wilt Chamberlain and York Larice, who had 151 in 1961 for the Warriors. The thing is, Wilt had 139. Other dude had 12. Harden becomes the first player ever to get at least 30 points, 10 assists in his first 2 games with a new team, averaging 33 points, 13 assists in his first 2 games with Brooklyn. As you said, no turnovers in the second half after going 9 in the first game and 6 in the first half here. Harden has scored or assisted on 129 points in his first 2 games with the Nets. According to Elias, that's the most by any player in his first 2 games with a team, NBA history.
Harden suiting up for the Nets and playing with Kevin Durant. Now, listen, I know they barely squeaked by the Magic, but it was magical what I saw from Brooklyn. Jalen, what did you see from the potential of this Nets nucleus?
The NBA that I was born to, that I played so long, needed this so very much. You got the East Coast villain, you got the West Coast superhero in LeBron James. And I was sitting back watching the Derek Coleman, Kenny Anderson throwback jerseys, and I was also watching the Bucks play. And I saw Giannis go 1 for 10 from the free throw line. And you know what I was thinking? KD's winning the East.
I love
Kevin
it.
Durant's
Come to the
winning
dark
the
side.
East.
Come to the dark side, Mr. Rose. Because you've been talking about the Bucks all season. Come to the dark side.
You know how much I love Giannis and Middleton and Drew Holiday. And I've tried to hold out hope, Jacoby, that they were going to win the East. But now James Harden is playing with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Let me tell you guys would have been more fair at the park. If James Harden would have got traded to the East to play with Joel Embiid. So now you got those two, you got KD and Kyrie, you have Jalen and Tatum. That would be more fair. But now you put Harden on the Nets. Oh, man, it's unfair, man.
If you want to take this to the park, you want to go to the park analogy, they're going to run until they're done. They're not going to lose. They're going to walk off the court and be like, yo, you want to get dinner? You want to leave or something? That's how good I see this team. I see this team winning the East, and it's not even close. There's just too much firepower. I don't care if they don't play defense. I don't care if they all need the ball. It's going to be fine.
And Jacoby, Mike D'Antoni's going to put 130 up on the board, and he's going to challenge, along with Steve Nash, every other team to outscore them. And also, when the game slows down, Ben Simmons ain't making shots outside of the paint. The Greek Freak ain't making free throws or threes. How physical can the Celtics be up front? And so teams have holes just like the Nets have holes. But that firepower and that play. playmaking ability, and those three guys are going to be dynamic, Jacoby. Lakers and Nets in the finals. Book it.
Coming up next, there was one